Milan Kucan had a wicked game. Milan Kučko had a wicked game. He would come here for a fishing on a frequent basis. This started when I was 12 years old. Father purchased the parcel. 11 years old I was, and possibly even earlier. And it's very possible how the father also got the parcel. He had a wicked game. He had a very wicked game. This is a really beautiful place with a boat, and that's how the father would take one for the fishing. And Milan Kucan, I need to fix this so that I can talk again on this telephone. It's not so damn easy. And Milan Kucan had a wicked game. Milan Kucan used Nurse Janko and Robert Golob. During MK Ultra for violence, and they refer to that violence like they did something to you again. They did something to you again. And the system they used, the system they used was very interesting. They wanted me to compete with others during MK Ultra for the Kucan is, I don't know how you would say that, favorability, naklonjenost, ljubezen. They wanted to develop some kind of a sick relationship that will be based on abuse, basically. Like, Milan Kucan is not gonna like you if you, if you're absolutely not gonna go down on knees in front of him, adoring him, And this shit was sickening because the guy was nothing special during MK Ultra. Rather, the whole thing was embarrassing, and he wanted absolutely for me to adore one, to get down on my knees to him. Through displaying a bad attitude, in my face, through displaying unfriendly attitude, he expected with this kind of play, I would go down on knees in front of him, and just because he was the president of the communists here in Slovenia, that I will be just obedient boy to him, that I would just adore to him whatever he would do. Yeah, this was the training. Nurse Janko got on the picture when I was 9 years old. When I was 11 years old, he would be coming here also with a group of other kids. When they would go from Ljubljana, obviously they pick up these kids, the older generation, Borut Pahor, Robert Golob, and Golobic, and so on. And when father purchased this parcel, they would oftentimes stop here. I am going to get to this issue about the neighbors here. We're going to get to this issue. And so it was, Yugoslavia had fallen down. In 91, it was game over for Yugoslavia in Slovenia. And these ex-communists, they didn't have any kind of power. They didn't have anything, The one who gave them a power was that company there. It's called Krka Pharmaceutical. This was the company that gave these communists from Yugoslavia. They called themselves communists. They were not communists. This was a Chetnik movement, Serbian, pro-Serbian, greater Serbia, with Yugoslavia was just a great Serbia. movement. They wanted the ethnic cleansing here. They wanted to make the Serbia here, and it was a socialist country, socialist Yugoslavia. So if you were a communist, if you have a communist membership, you had a special privileges. You know, everything was open to you. This is how the father got the parcel here. That's number one. That's how he got the parcel here. I remember now the whole thing. And you know, in 1993, 1992 to be precise, in 1992, you know, they continue with the torture. They continue with the torture, and in the way this stuff was done in 1992, Milan Kucan stopped in person here. He started to come here in person, like personally, like anybody that you see on the street to visit father. And the way he did this, it would be like presented this like it would be like a chance for you. It would be like a chance for you. And I was like, okay, if he's gonna come. In 1989, in 1992, in 1993, if like he would be occasionally coming here to visit father in person, would not be hiding absolutely from the neighbors, from anybody, because of his long really involvement against me in this place, using the neighbors. And it was like this, it was like your last chance, it was your last chance. You had people here that would also come fishing, such as Schwigel, Matko, like top communists from Slovenia, very good personal friends of Milan Kucan, Schwigel, Matko, and some other people, not to mention also here from Krka Pharmaceutical, like Marko Bulc, for instance, Marko Bulc. These are like regular guests here. And so Milan Kucan, the way he did this stuff, the way he wanted me to absolutely reject him, was that he had a nurse Janko and Robert Golob. They would always do something very bad to me. They refer to them like a bad part of the team. Of course, it was a teamwork. Of course, these people all worked together. It's just that they need somebody for dirty work, you know, and others for other issues. Robert, Borat Pahor always wanted to look diplomatic and so on, and, you know, others. But, you know, they always had what they alone present like a bad part of this MK Ultra team, yeah? And so they did something bad to me. They tortured extensively, and then Milan Kucan arrived here so that I would know, you know, I would know what Milan Kucan expected from me. He said it was going to be the last time. If you're not going to make it, we're never going to see each other again. Did a lot of bad stuff before he appeared here. And I gained weight, like right now actually, kind of a gained weight too. When he appeared here to go fishing with the father, I would not want to see Milan Kucan anymore. This was it. I asked what he wants, what is it, whatever. Father asked me to bring something so they could go down fishing. I did this, and I turn around, I walk away from it. So don't fucking say this guy did not come here. About the neighbors, it's like this. In 2004, Kucan started to come here again fishing. And I left US in 2006. August of 2006. He said he had a good friend, Danilo Turk, who will become a president. And Danilo Turk became president in 2007 when I returned back from the US. There is so much information, I don't even know where to start with this stuff. Danilo Turk was involved in my case since I was a child, since my childhood. Now he became a president. And I don't know what it was, but they did again the same thing, a conflict between me and Danilo Turk, which conflict always was. They were always portraying the whole thing to me. To me, don't worry about it. That factory you see right there, the Krka Pharmaceutical, is what Lojze Peterle, Dmitry Rupel, Jelko Kacin, Igor Bauchar, and so on, so-called independence people with the Yansha, they claimed these are the people because of what they cannot solve my issue. Yeah, right. So they did something bad to me again, created a conflict, and Danilo Turk claimed that he will not help me because I look at him in the wrong way during MK Ultra and stuff like this. This is the way it was. All this scum was coming here at this place, at this house. And father didn't care about anything because Milan Kucan stated, for all these neighbors, he stated, and he tested them. He tested them during Yugoslavia. He tested them. He actually groomed these neighbors. He groomed, you know, groomed like you groom somebody to be whatever. He groomed these neighbors to be his tools totally. There was somebody when he went fishing here in 2000, in 2000 and I don't know, in 2000 and 2007, 2008. He would continue to come here till 2008. That there was somebody from other side of the Krka River. They would be going here to this, it's called Kotanja, right here from in front of Redkova, Kotanja. In front of the Krka technicals, they do the technical examinations of the cars, you know. And it appears that they were taking photos of them when they were fishing from the boat. And Milan Kucan no longer just like this come here. Obviously, he was too lazy to put the silicone mask over. Not really. I think he was using one. I think he was using occasionally silicone mask. They all had the silicone masks. He said, "I am not." He said to the father, "I'm not worrying about these neighbors here. I'm not worrying about this here." He was in a especially good relationship with the Župančić, with the guy right here in front of it, and even more so, he was in a especially good relationship with the Yerman. That's another neighbor right here with the house that you see right here behind the corner. He had the whole street figured out. This here was from Berger, forget about that. That's from Belgrade. This is one of the most prominent communists from Yugoslavia. That's what he classified himself as a communist. Was frequently in Belgrade and stuff like this. So let me go to the part about the Krka Pharmaceutical. You see this guy here, this is a Marko Bulc, this guy. You see this guy? This was one of the key people for the Krka Pharmaceutical. This guy here. You see this? This was one of the main people for the Krka Pharmaceutical, this guy. Marko Bulc was much more famous than Milan Kucan in Slovenia. This is the guy that nobody would dare to touch. This is why he was so important for Krka Pharmaceutical, because of the resistance during the World War II against the Nazi Germany, against the fascist Italy, which they occupied Slovenia. This guy was extremely prominent individual. Then we have two people here. One is Boris Andrijanic here, born in 1910, just about the same generation as Marko Bulc, and who also died in 1993. Who was coming? He was he presented himself as my grandfather this year. He was coming here since he was involved in this crime, in this extermination procedure since my childhood, just as Marco Bulc. This guy was a founder of the company, of the Krka Pharmaceutical. Founder literally through me. These two guys, Boris Andrianic and Marco Bulc, they say he died in 2019. That's what they say. These two individuals frequently would take me to Belgrade, to Josip Broz Tito. This is why I started at age 1. Krka Pharmaceutical was nothing yet, when I was 1 year old. But through the money, through the connections they made through me with Belgrade and with other countries from abroad, they got the technology and stuff. This is when the Krka Pharmaceutical became, it boomed, yeah? So one of the key people, I wouldn't say that he was a founder, but this was a key person, let's say Boris Andrianic. Was this guy here? These are the people Milan Kucan actually feared. These are the people that were above Milan Kucan. Milan Kucan was not in partisans. Milan Kucan is a nobody. Milan Kucan is a young man when compared to these people. You know, Milan Kucan. Milan Kucan is a nobody. Milan Kucan was born in 1941, basically during war. You know, he is 83 years old, and he was about 3 years old when the war ended, basically. 4 years old when the war finished. These are the people that were... this one here was just like my grandfather. This one here that you see, Andrianic. That's why the two became such good friends with my father. He had a pharmaceutical store, and he helped my grandfather take medications to the partisans during the World War II. My father was a secretary of the city of the Novo Mesto and was supplying partisans with medications. He had a pharmacy store. I don't know how it was, and he would smuggle the drugs to the partisans, so you know they would need them to survive, basically. This is a very, very big name here. And then you have that's his grandson here. His actually grandson is what this is here. He became a minister, a Slovenian politician and a lawyer. Anyhow, this is a young man. This is just born in 1983. I was born in 1971. First Minister of Digital Transformation of the Republic of Slovenia. You know, this Krka Pharmaceutical people, this is why the crime went on against me. This is just going to be part 1 of this video. I'm going to do the part 2. I'm going to explain to you what the fuck went on with this Krka Pharmaceutical. The circle of the people was directors. They were directors of the marketing. They were directors of production. They have different directors, you know. They all were coming here in this house. Since I was not in this since father bought the parcel here, yeah, but in our old house, and father would always host foreign delegations, Germans and others that would come, based on whom the Krka Pharmaceutical grew up. The Krka Pharmaceutical didn't have any kind of technology, didn't have any kind of knowledge for production of medications and stuff. This grew up basically from the pharmaceutical store. Idea about the pharmaceutical store that this guy, this Boris Andrianic, had. The funding, everything was done literally through this case. So this case, this MK Ultra case, became so big that unfortunately for me, the company that you see right there that became, it outgrew me. It outgrew me in a sense that they were a parasite that hosted on this case. And once this parasite grew up to be so strong, all these directors, numerous doctors with the doctoral degrees of a chemistry, pharmacy, they all turned against me. They did not want anymore for the company to stop harassing me, killing me, basically. So the company itself could continue to suck more and more and more, and they did. They got Western markets, they got medications, they started to copy, and more importantly, machinery, the stuff that they wouldn't even sell them. They got absolutely everything and were the only company, maybe even in Eastern Europe, the only company in Eastern Europe, pharmaceutical company, eventually that survived the transition between the so-called Yugoslavia, a socialist system, and a capital, what they refer to as a new capitalist system, yes? The only pharmaceutical company in Eastern Europe. All other companies were purchased by the foreign corporations and so on. The only company, yes. This is how important this case of mine was. Now, I'm going to do this like a part number one. Milan Kucan, as much as he would want to be important, was not even an important individual. But he was an important individual in a sense of extermination, of ethnic cleansing. The thing is that when Slovenia became independent, these people started to didn't know what to do with me. It was exactly Krka pharmaceutical people that, such as Mišo Pokorni, Drago Pokorni, Šonc, Oblak, Bulc. Bulc had a brother. This guy had a brother. This guy here had a brother. This guy here had a brother, and his name was Janez Bulc. Yeah, he would be coming here. He doesn't say anything about it. Let me see this here, if I can get him. Janez Bulc, Krka Pharmaceutical. He also was a director, you know. And this guy was also a director of Krka Pharmaceutical, you know. Only directors. Father would be hosting here only directors. You know, when I told you about that American politicians started to come here and all this stuff, I wasn't kidding to you. Yeah, maybe I should have done this video first, but it's okay like this, because it's the whole thing I break down about who was, what was, and so on. Yeah. My father declared himself as an initiator of, upon the Slovenian independence, to not stop this case, and he declared himself somebody who will fuck me at all costs. My father was obsessed with this case, so was his colleagues. Under no circumstances they wanted to stop. If all these so-called Slovenian independence politicians claimed that it was the Krka pharmaceutical people that got on their way to you know, just stop this crime against me. So they claimed, from Jelko Kacin to Peterle, to Lojze Peterle, to Janez Janša, to Igor Bavčar, they all claimed that it was a Krka pharmaceutical that blocked them from having this case revealed. I didn't want to reveal it, I just wanted to have a life, basically, back then. Now things are different. Meanwhile, clearly it became evident that these people worked together with one another and they had no fucking intentions to stop anything. So much abuse I endured from the mentioned people at age 52. I don't hell need this. I don't hell need this to advocate the garbage against myself. This is the controlled opposition of Milan Kucan, because of whom Slovenia practically was destroyed. Slovenia is destroyed. Slovenia is a country only on a paper. That's all it comes to.